I think Severance has just got so many different components to it, so much opportunity for growth in different directions. And I think that's a really unique and challenging thing to have.
The Severance Community Bridge Project is a project located in Severance, Colorado, and it is a pedestrian bridge that Colorado Building Workshop designed for the town. That's about 165 feet long, and it spans over a ditch that's in the middle of the park, allowing access from the new recreation park that goes to the Great Western Trail, so it connects all ends of the town together.
This was our first bridge project, but it really, I felt, was more than a bridge, and in many ways the students picked up on that rather quickly. This was really very community-based, and this was one of the few opportunities that I think the students had to engage an entire town, to think about how their piece of architecture could extend the town and the sort of social nature of what that park was really all about, and give the people that are in that place a real sort of sense of community.
Precedent was very important for us, especially being architects kind of out of Denver, which is a more obviously metropolitan area. We wanted to make sure that we spoke to the people of the town that we were building for.
A lot of it was understanding the town itself, the landscape, the environment that we're in, and applying those features to the design of the bridge itself. This culmination of mountain ranges and plains and these objects floating and sitting on the horizon, how you bring that into the synthesis of modern and rural.
So what we really looked at was what you experience when you come out here. So often when you're driving along the roads, you encounter these kind of landmarks pockmarked around the area. And so that's really the only thing other than the horizon and the rolling landscape that you connect with. And so we wanted to take that. We wanted our bridge to be significant and to kind of stand out. Hence the kind of scale of it. We beefed everything up so that it stood out. And within the park itself, it now acts as this kind of landmark that people can, meet at, gather under, and kind of reference off of.
In the fall, when we did our site analysis, I think the biggest contributing factor really was the dichotomy between the mountain range and the plains, and framing those views and creating an experience that doesn't overwhelm one or the other, but creates a real synthesis between the two of them.
We oriented the bridge framing Long's Peak, and there's a really stunning view of it from each end of the bridge. And as you walk across, you also can see the horizon to both the south and the north.
This particular case, I think the students did a really amazing job thinking about notions of gathering, how the bridge was going to be used in recreating, especially in terms of the ball fields that were there, connecting to the community and pickup areas, and then also really beginning to understand what was special about crossing the bridge. I think they did a really good job understanding the nuances of how the rural plains kind of play out, how you negotiate and walk over the top of that, and then these really beautiful moments of pause that happen at both ends of the bridge, and then also as you kind of cross over the water.
When Severance first came to us with the idea of wanting a bridge to cross this ditch, we really looked at what else can we give them? What else can we make it aside from just a bridge? We can expand this thing and make it something that's useful for the communities.
The bridge really serves to connect the east and west side of the park. Right now they're kind of separate. There's the ditch running between them, connected to the reservoir. And so really by bridging that, we're able to kind of create a cohesive plan for the whole park.
For me, the most exciting part of this project was absolutely the crane lift we had that Wednesday.
Probably had to be on crane day when we were lifting it across, and they set it down and all the feet landed where they were supposed to be and all our measurements were right, and the kind of month worth of foundation work really paid off.
We put so much time, energy, effort, just thought and enthusiasm into the bridge itself. Seeing that all culminate in this massive crane with these 80,000 pounds of counterweight, just seeing that whole thing lift and get placed precisely in to where it goes, everything just finally lined up, and it's really, for me, what made it all come together and made it all worth it.
I think my favorite visit to the build was probably crane day, although I really did enjoy coming out a few times throughout the process to see some of the off-site fabrication that was going on. I think there are two different types. One's kind of the awe-inspiring piece of the construction, but then the nitty-gritty and seeing the students, working as hard as they were in the summer sun in a blacktop parking lot on manufacturing or welding or any kind of work like that was just more of a kudos to the group.
One of the most exciting parts of this project was just learning what it means to actually construct something. In architecture school, you learn a lot about how to create these big ideas, these big programs, but you don't learn how to actually construct it, how it actually goes together, how A fits into B. This experience through design build really teaches you that. You're physically going in and looking at how these connection points happen, and I think it creates a really good foundation for future architects to understand what their contractors are doing in the field. It really brings you into that side of things, and it gives you a better understanding of what you're setting somebody up to build.
I think that the thing that this program offers students that you do not get in studio would be the fact of knowing about tolerances in building and in construction. When you're in studio and you're designing something, you can be like, oh, well, I want it to be 1/8 of an inch. But in the real world, that doesn't necessarily happen, and you have to be able to work within those tolerances to still get a good project and to still make it beautiful. And I think that teaches us a lot as architects going into the field, because in the end, people are going to be hopefully building what we design.
I think the design build process is different than most design processes because there is this sort of understanding that you're going to be the one putting it together. There's, as contrasted from, say, a studio environment, the reality of having to kind of build it that's unique.
I think one of the things that makes Colorado Building Workshop so successful for students is the fact that it teaches us how to work with other disciplines and achieving what we want.
Ultimately, when you look at this process and the way that the students handle themselves, I think it was a benefit, and the scale was tipped towards Severance. We really received a good end product, and I think we also, as a staff and as a board and as a community, learned a lot about the interaction, the positive interaction with the educational environment.
It was a lot of fun and a lot of hard work, but it's very rewarding at the end of it to see how everything kind of comes together and see how all of the different teams mesh and create one cohesive project in the end.